Hi, welcome back. Now it's time to finalize that ATM application that we're working with. So let's see where we are. What I did is I added some comments which are really important to document and help working with other programs once you start working with multiple. So one of the parts that I need to add always is documenting the project name, developer date, and any other information that's helpful. Next, I usually like to add comments of what's going on in every little section in the code. So for example, here I'm making call to the menu manager. Here I'm printing something else, and I'm doing this. The reason I didn't add here is because I know I'm going to change it. We're going to do a lot of work. So I hope you're ready. And here, obviously, this here will only print splash screen. So you know this function is basically going to do that. You also can do that, which is really, really useful. And you describe the function, which is the name of it, and a lot of other details. You can put it right there on the top, like a header for each function. And you can say it void and void. You know, for now, the other functions will be taking other stuff. So you know the it inputs, I guess you can say input is void and return is void. And also you can describe the whole function, which I did here already, because this function here, all it does is print splash screen. On the other hand, I can come here and show you quick. This function here will do multiple things. Let's say the function is menu manager, right? And input, yes, is going to take a void as an input, and as an output, it will be a char type. So you need to pass to this function a char. I'm going to leave it as this. There are so many ways you can describe it. It's better ways to say input is void and output is char. So you know what we're talking about. Next, which is different here, this function will print main menu, right? Also, it will capture user selection, right, from the menu. Good. So this is the type of comments you need on every function. Inside here, you can provide separate comments on each section or every segment of code. So basically here, let's print the main menu. We know what we're doing here. And now here, wait for user input and capture it, obviously. Good. So comments are very, very important. I have planned for all the stuff we're going to do, so let's see what else I wanted to add. This is our original flowchart. Remember, that's what we're going to use. However, I added a lot more tasks. So to have a good, full, complete program, you should have a header file that contains all the common declarations, because we're going to have multiple source files. I will show you. Next, we're going to add a loop so the program continues interacting with users correctly. If you remember from last run that we did with the last video, it only provides minimum execution. So it only user can select one option, and that's it. It's just done. It's exit. Let's do that so I can show you. Right now, if I run it, it will display everything fine. Here is the splash, here is the menu. And once I select one item, guess what it does? Nothing. It shows you correctly what the item that was selected, but it's done. It exits. We don't want that. We want it to continue looping and only exits when I select Q to quit, right? So here is the loop. I also want to have a delay to allow the users to see the result of your program. So if you display the balance of your accounts, I want to wait and see that, right? If you display a print of a process, a transaction, I want to see that, right? Okay, also I want to clear the screen so right here it doesn't look very professional. Look at this mess here. So I want to display the splash by itself and then display the menu. And when I go and do something else, I want to come and see only the menu on the screen, not everything happened in the whole day, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to display, I'm going to add a clear. We'll see that. Next, I'm going to add a test to quit only when I press Q. So I'm going to have a full loop, and then it's going to loop forever, and then it will quit only when I ask for Q. Nice. Next, I'm going to have to add very important functions, which are the function to handle users selection. So I am selecting. I want to make use of the selection and start processing other stuff. And these are the functions that will process deposit, withdrawal, transfer, print to account balance. Obviously, we need that. Good. Let's go for that. Okay, here we are back to the flowchart. Remember, I have added more requirements here or more thoughts to what we want to add to the program. First of all, I already have the main loop here. I didn't implement it in the code yet, and which we will do, but I want to make this a little bit more detailed. So we have process deposit and deposit, withdrawal and withdrawal, and then I have a print account balance, right? That's something important. And then I want to add process transfers. So basically I should put this here somewhere like this. Okay, and I'm going to add another one like these to be able, another option which will allow me to go and add the transfer. So we can go here and fix that and make this look a little better. Okay, good. The process is going to be option here, which I want to get down here. And the print will be down here. This option will be 5 and 6. So I made this option 5 and 6 because there will be two different transfers. One is from checking to savings, one from savings to checking. Good. So I made this option 5 and 6 because there will be two different transfers. One is from checking to savings and one from savings to checking. Good. What else? I also am thinking about adding a focused function here that will, the loop will take care of the user input, but then the function will take care of calling which process we want to do based on the user selection. So let's do that. Okay, as you see now, I decided to go through the loop and then send that selection to a function to process which one to call. And then I also decided for the flowchart is to put these numbers on right here. It looks a little better so you know, or you can trace it basically, not where it is. Okay, this is as good as we want to be. Don't want to put too much details in it and waste time, but you want it clear and specific so you can come back to it and understand what are we doing. Let's go from here. Okay, we're back. So here is the function we need to start working on. In the main, my process in the function in the main function is to capture user selection from calling this function, which is menu manager. And when this will come back, I want to do something with it. So let's keep doing that forever. That's basically the key of this function. I'm going to call here and say while, and I'm going to, let's say, true, right? While true, I'm going to do this specific piece of information all the time. And I like to align it and intended, so it's clear to see where the code is looking like. This is another piece, comments and indenting the code properly to look clear, and you know where there is a problem if there is. Now, one of the first thing you notice, there is a true here, and it's underlined because, basically have an error flag, and that tells me that I'm missing include. And here's the standard Boolean. So I also like to put comments in front of my includes because that tells me why I have them here. Later, if you copy that into another file and you get an error and you don't know why, but at least you know that you have this here to tell you why you used it for. Okay. As soon as I put it in, you see that the true is gone. The error is gone, right? Good. So I have a while, and it's going to be for infinite. Let's try it. Remember, I don't want to put too much code if I don't run it, and in case there is a problem, I will not figure it out. Here we go. So I run it. It goes through the full thing. I'm going to go and select option 2. It tells me that option 2 is selected, and guess what? It did not exit. It continues, and it's going to continue forever. So what if I do now and put Q? It's going to say, yes, your selection is Q, but it never quit because I never added the piece. So right now we can control C. It will terminate the program. So as soon as you put control C, it will terminate the program and stop it. Well, another way here is you can go here and stop it from here. Okay, so let's see again, W. Who cares? It's W. But the program is going to continue forever, and that's what we want. But let's stop it. Okay, right here, I am going to say F something, right? F user selection equal, and that's very big bug I always see. Equals, double equal, and I want to compare it to something. Isn't it Q? Right? And I'm going to copy that and do it again here and make it lowercase, because either uppercase or lowercase, whatever the user decides, I want to quit. Does this look right? No. I want to put another parenthesis here and at the end, and then I'm going to put or, because I want this or this. My condition is either or. I want to stop or basically execute what I'm going to put here. What I'm going to put here is break. Nice. Do I need to put something else? I am. So I'm going to put thank you for using my application, because you know that at this point you are quitting, you are exiting or terminating the application. So let's say something to know and tell the user that you really informing the user that you're quitting. It did not crash. Sometimes the program will crash. Obviously, it will look weird. But here you want to tell the user, I know you clicked or you selected exit, and I understand that. Good. Let's run that for now. Let's run that. Nice. You have the everything as normal. I'm going to press 1. I'm going to press 2. Continue looping. Continue looping. Now let's press Q. Perfect. The program quit. It said your selection is Q, and thank you for using my application, and my ATM application exiting, and you're free. You're out of the application now, out of the program. Perfect. Let's compare where we are to the flowchart. We have a start, we're displaying welcome, displaying menu. We have the infinite loop that's always going in a loop, waiting for user selection. We capturing the user selection, and we are quitting when the user is Q or selects Q. And great. What we want to do here is create or have a little shift here once we have the user selection to process it. So let's go back. What we do is we do and we quit. If the user selects Q, I'm going to quit. But if the user doesn't select Q, then it means I can do something else. Okay, what I'm gonna do is add a process for the user selection. I'm gonna call it process user selection. And I'm gonna say user select, I'm gonna pass it user selection. Good. So what we're gonna do here, as you see, I have to declare this function somewhere. And from here, I wanna create a new source file. And this source file will have the specialized functions to handle all that. Let's go here, add a file. Okay, I'm gonna call it ATM process.c. It's a source file. I also want to add one more thing right away is default.h. You can call it anything you want, but let's call it default.h. This is my header that will be the common header to contain all my declarations, headers, other function declaration, global variables, and we'll see. Good. Let's go here and create a new function. Okay, the function will be process user selection. It will be void because I don't need it to return anything. Here is the function, and the main need to know about it. So here is the function that I'm calling from the main. But guess what? I need to declare it for the main to know where it is. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to go into my default and put here something global because that's not a local function. Semicolon. So I'm declaring there is a void process user selection char user selection. Good. Now I need to build this header file a little better, and for just to do that, it will be used by main, so the main can use it. I'm going to add this here. Include I'm going to call default.h. Okay, and I don't need this anymore here because these declarations or headers are used by all my source file. So let's move them to my header, and I'm going to call that header headers, I guess, for now. Okay, this will be used by this main, and as you see now, this line is gone. It was kind of flagged because I know now there is a function like this exists. But because this is shared by multiple files, I should do that. And with this, it does protect the file from running twice or being declared twice, and you end up having multiple declarations. So you put, if not define that definition, then define it and do this work and then end. Now if I call this file again from another source file, it will say if it's not defined but it's defined, so it's just going to skip it. It will be used, but it's not multiple definition for the code. Good. Let's look at this. I want to call this includes, okay? And this is global. Then I'm going to put a place here for global variables. I'm going to need that. Good. Let's go back to main, and we know that we're jumping to that selection as we want, but what we're going to do, let's focus on this part for now. So on this part, we will need a couple things quick. I need to print f. Of course, you're going to start seeing weird stuff. There's flags here because I need to include, remember, default.h because it has all my headers. Okay, now I can say printf, and I'm going to say user selection is whatever. It means I took it away from the main function. I don't need it in the main function. I'm going to process it where it's supposed to. Okay, I'm going to process it in my user selection function. And then I need to do a switch. So what I'm going to do is use that switch based on the user selection that the user selected. And then I'm going to start building cases. So case, remember, 1. Okay, let's see where we are. I created cases for case 1 all the way to 6, which I know I have 6 menus, options, and then I have a case to print, right? And then default, which means someone, user entered something unusable that has nothing to do. Maybe I can print something interesting like this. Here I can go and say, I know there is something wrong, so I'm going to say, please select one of the menu items. So what do we have here is I'm putting break between each cases, because if you don't put break, you will execute on your all the other ones and you're going to run over and you end up having unexpected functions or functionality or output. Results will be horrible. So when you create a case, you have to put a break. Only you don't have to put a break if you sharing multiple cases like P, capital and lowercase p. You want the user to either print by entering P capital or P lowercase. You can understand that, yeah, I'm gonna print. Good. So right now I have that selection is gonna take care of orchestrating where the process is going to go from here. Very good. Okay, so I jumped and I added these functions. If it's number 1, based on this, if it's number 1, I want to do deposit into checking. Number 2, deposit into savings, and so on. So I come here and I say, okay, let's make a deposit function that will be directed by the input, either C for checking or S for savings. Okay, and the same for withdrawal and transfer and print account. Let's start with the easiest one and go here and make, and I like to copy and paste for a reason. If you made a mistake, then your copy is still the same one, the same spelling, so you're not going to have a problem. Okay, so we have a no input and no output because this function here will know to do one thing. It will print the values of the accounts, which we don't have. Let's do that. Okay, remember, I have default and I had a special section for global variables. I'm going to create that. So I'm going to create a float because bank account could have float numbers, decimal that has whole number or less than whole numbers. So I'm going to create a checking account balance, savings account balance. Now we created a global variable. Don't forget, I have to declare it. I have to initialize it to 0. Otherwise, you have no idea what it starts from. Let's go to main and say, as soon as I start main, I'm gonna go here. That's the right place to initialize your global variables. I'm gonna say this here, checking balance and savings balance. I'm gonna say equals to 0, and the same here equals to 0. So anytime you feel like you need to initialize a variable, you should come here and remember to put it here. I'm going to add something here that this here print slash cream. Again, remember, comments are very good. It seems over right now because these are very simple, but guess what? It's a habit that you build. And the more you put comments, the better you work in a group, and you come back later and you will understand what happened here. Good. We created the balance. Let's go and print it. I'm going to take these two here Whoops. I'm going to take these two because I need them. I'm going to go into here and go into the print, and guess what I'm going to do? Now let's print. So I'm printing to the screen this value and this value as a float, as you see here. Notice that I have this red line. It's a flag because the function is not declared yet. So let's do that. Take it here, and we're going to put it into the default and declare another global function as we did before. If I go back to here, it's gone. The error is gone. So let's get used to that. Once you create a function, let's declare it somewhere in the default header. What else? Remember, you notice here this is also gone, that error that we had. Well, we should have one here, but it's probably the compiler is not there yet. Okay, let's create all these functions. Okay, so I put all the functions that I need from here. I put them here, but in there you have to create their container. And I'm going to put that here. And I'm going to create another one here. Good. So these functions should be good, ready to start developing the code that you need, the logic you need in it. However, let's quick create them or put them into the global function declarations. Perfect. So I lost all the errors. I got rid of the errors. I know now I can come here, and based on my selection, I'm going to jump to one of these, right? And if I want to print, I'm going to print 0. Let's run it before I go any further. So let's run and see. I'm going to go here. Whoa, errors. So the header I made a mistake here. It's not endf, it's endf. Okay, and as you see here, this is causing a big problem. Okay, so let's run it before we start typing too much code. Okay, let's click. Okay, so it's running splash screen menu. Let's see if I can press 1. It says, yeah, I did 1 and coming back. Let's press 2. Yes, it says 2 and coming back. Let's press print. You expect it to be 0. Okay, here you go. It's printing zeros and coming back. But do you like that? I don't. Before we go any further, let's add some kind of better look to that. So once I have the splash screen, I want to clear, and then I always want to put this always on top. I can keep scrolling. That's not normal, right? Okay, so I went to main, and inside the loop, every time I repeat my loop, I want to create, or I want to clear my screen, and this is done by calling system and clear. Okay, this here doesn't work unless you add that include file, which is I marked here is for system commands standard library. So if you don't have this, it's not going to work. You have to add it. So now I can clear, but guess what's going to happen if I run this now? Let's see. Did you see that? You didn't even see the splash. Let's put a delay. So what I want to do every time I go into the while loop, I want to have a little delay, allow me to see what's happening. Okay, so what's the screen delay? I'm asking for sleep and screen delay. Okay, so screen delay will be a number that I pass to sleep, and this number is going to be global, it's going to be defined. I don't want it a variable because it's not really used ever again. So I'm going to go into default, I'm going to add another section and call it global defines. Define screen delay to be for now 3. It's going to be big difference. Look now. So I'm stopping. Let's do over and watch. You get a splash, 1, 2, 3, disappears, and now you have a menu. Let's try 1. You get a selection, you look at it, you see it, and you come back to the main menu. You look at 2, You look at it, and if we do anything, you will see it here, and you go back to the main menu. Now, if the delay is not enough, you can add it. If the delay is too much, you can increment it or decrement it, the number. Okay, if I press P, now I can see my print, I can see my values, and then it disappears. I go back to the main menu. So many ways you can do it. This is one way I like to do it on my own. If I press Q, I don't need anything else. I should be quitting. Good. Deposit, I know it will be called, but there is nothing in it. So let's add a switch statement. Basically, if I call it with a C, I want to deposit and to check in. If I call it with S, then I want to deposit to savings. So let's see, I have a switch statement. If I pass the type, it will use it, and in case it's a C, it will do some adding some value to the balance of the checking account. And if I have S, it will use that value and add it to the balance of the savings account. Okay, where are we gonna get this? Well, let's add another piece here. This part will prompt the user to enter amount to deposit that will be displayed. And then we're gonna scanf, and we're gonna wait for a float coming in from the user. Declare the variable. Variable will be 0. Remember, when you declare a variable, you have to initialize it. And then we're gonna use it. So here it is used, and it will pass the user input here. And then we can use it to add it to the balance of the checking or the balance of the savings as a deposit, right? Good. So let's do exactly the same thing for the withdrawal. The only difference is we're gonna do here is we're gonna come to withdrawal. We know we have a selection, either checking or savings, right? Okay, we're gonna ask the user to enter amount to withdrawal, okay? And then we capture that value, and if it's a checking, we're gonna subtract it from the checking account or subtract it from the savings account. Great, let's try it. Don't go far without testing your code. Let's see if it works. You have the splash, delay, and the menu. Let's say 1. It will say, hey, you have a selection 1. Okay, enter amount to deposit. Okay, I'm gonna say 50. You know we selected 1, it means going to the checking account. All right, you can see it. Then it goes back to the main menu. Okay, let's go. I wanna do something else. I wanna deposit to savings. It will say, okay, enter amount to deposit. I'm going to say 500 this time. Okay, great. Remember the numbers. I see it, and let's do a print this time. If I print, wow, the bank account is working. Okay, it took a little fast, but it's working. Great. We are in good shape. Let's queue and quit. Okay, I'm going to add some more code to transfer. We're almost there. If I plug in this code here into the transfer, you have to be careful, right? I need a value, and I'm going to ask the user to enter amount to transfer. Okay, so I'm going to ask the user for a value. I'm going to capture it. Account type, I'm going to use it to account. I just made it a little different. Okay, so that's what I'm passing as account type. Remember, it's to account. So this value will be, so if it's chicken, C, it means I am transferring from chicken account into savings account. It means I need to take it away from chicken, and I'm going to put it into savings. If it's S, which means option number 6. So option number 6 will be taking away from savings and depositing it into checking. It means I need to put it or add it to the checking account and subtracting it from the savings account. Let's run this again. Let's deposit 50 into checking account and then deposit 500 into savings account. Let's print to confirm. Okay, I want to transfer $10. So I'm going to transfer from checking to savings, option number 5. And I'm going to transfer $10. Remember, 10 from checking to savings. I'm going to print. Here is checking account is 40. Savings was 50. Very nice. There are a lot of ways we can do it. You can actually put a pause and instead of delay. And you can say, okay, when you print, you can say, okay, press any key to continue, and instead of just a standard delay. Everything is working. It looks very good. Okay, we're back. So I just wanted to add a little message to say processing, please wait, because there will be delay that we always see. At least tell the user that the program is working on purposely delay, making a delay, so don't worry. Once I added it here into my the process user selection, because you basically come here and jump to the function that basically takes care of the deposit, withdrawal, and everything, then immediately you come back and you're gonna put some delay, right? So let's put this here. Let's see what the difference. And when I do that, if I print, if I run splash, you have this. If I put a print, for example, it's gonna print and say processing, please wait. So you know what this delay for. And the same thing, if you want a deposit was 50, look what's gonna happen. It's gonna say processing, please wait. Good. That's all I wanted to add. Great. Let's confirm that we did all these functions we did here. Normally, if the process deposit or one of these modules is very complex, you probably can go and create another flowchart to describe the process in it. In this case, it's very simple. It doesn't really need to do that. So we confirmed that we went through all these. We did that, and everything looks good. Great. Now here is my, I'm going to add my link to this code to my description, and it's public. So if you go and type that address, which I'm going to put in my description again, you have access to all my code and source code that I have here. You can look at the ATM machine and the default header file, no problem. Good. So I hope this was exciting. I hope this captures all your what you learned so far in your programming classes, and allows you to exercise how to put together a whole set of functions, header, different modules. So if you like it, please subscribe, share, and like, and leave comments. Let me know if you have any question or certain area that you want me to focus on and describe it a little better in details. Enjoy and be safe.